Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope you're well. And so I'm so excited to join you today. So thank you so much for this invitation and this opportunity to share with you. So today we're going to talk about the future of work in the Industrial Revolution. And we're going to talk about what that means in the fourth, in particular, Industrial Revolution. So what we typically will say is Industry 4. So we're going to just hop right into it. And if you have questions, put them in the chat, and I will be answering in the chat or after this particular recording. So I am Dr. Tammy Francis. Um, People call me Dr. Tammy, and so you can call me that as well. I am on LinkedIn, so you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn at Dr. Tammy Francis, or if you put Tammy Francis, I should pop up. So I invite you to follow me there. So I'm going to go through a little bit of housekeeping first. And so we'll go through that first, just so everyone, we're all on the same page, and then we're just going to hop into it. Now, let me just say, I have a lot to share with you today. So we'll see how much we'll get into in the next 25, 30 minutes. So we'll see. So let's just go. All right. Let me get my slides working here. So a little bit of housekeeping. So please note that this virtual presentation, including attendee Zoom, video, audio, screen names, will be recorded. So wherever this may be recorded, all or portions of the event recording may be shared through Catalyst for Change Global digital channels. Individuals who do not want their identities to be captured are solely responsible for turning off their cameras, muting their microphone, and or adjusting their screen names accordingly. By attending this event session, you consent to your name, voice, and or image being recorded, and to Catalyst for Change Global, or what I like to call C4C Global, reproducing, distributing, or displaying the recording within its sole discretion. This presentation contains the intellectual property of Dr. Tammy Francis and Catalyst for Change Global, except as otherwise agreed to in writing. By accepting to participate and view this presentation, you agree to hold the contents of this presentation in confidence and not copy or disclose it to others except where required by applicable law, or use it for any unauthorized purposes. In the event of any actual or suspected breach of this obligation, Catalyst for Change Global will take legal action to remedy the breach. Some other housekeeping. I do invite you in the chat to interact with the other attendees and to actively participate. If you have ideas, suggestions, or anything to add to this presentation, I welcome it, and we will be looking in the chat to absorb some of the great content you will be sharing. So just know that this is a space where you can participate, you can inquire, ask questions, you can even explore some ideas and get feedback. I ask that we all just lean into what is being shared and trust the process and just consider the possibilities. That's all I ask. So let's go through the agenda. So my goal is to, of course, address the industrial revolutions. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Digital transformation, future of work, workplace automation, and then, of course, the question and answer will be in the chat. So you are welcome to participate there, and I invite you to do so. So let's just jump right in, and I'm gonna pop in and out every now and then. So hello, I'm at the bottom left of your screen, and so or maybe it's the right of your screen if this is Mira, but I'm at the bottom of your screen, and I'm just saying hello. So I will pop in occasionally and appear and move out of the way when necessary. So I want to talk about the industrial revolutions, 1 through 4, and a bonus, some bonus content. So we're going to focus on the fourth in this particular presentation, but I do want to kind of show you the historical transition here in this presentation. So we have the first. That happened around 1965. Some sources will say the 1980s. This was the original Industrial Revolution, transformed our economy from agriculture to industry. And it was really the advent or the adding the steam power in the steam engine, the development of the steam engine and metal was really um, key in changing the way goods were produced and exchanged. And this first industrial revolution was really used for the purposes to increase human productivity. And which is interesting if you think about the things that were happening historically. So the second was around 100 years later in the 1870s, and this is the second. And this one involved electricity, gas, and oil. This second industrial revolution was really about assembly line production. If you know anything about Ford Motors, if you've heard about that, really big here in the United States. Henry Ford took the idea of mass production and developed that. And what we have today. And he carried it over into the automobile production, and he drastically altered the way things are, the process of things. And so that's the second industrial revolution. So you can see coal to electricity, gas, oil, and the third is electronics. Now we're getting into late 1960s. We got a little partial automation, but this is computers. This is when the computers started. Of course, many of the homes didn't have computers until the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. But this is when, in the workplace, you started seeing more computers being used. The fourth industrial revolution is currently where we are today. And so we are currently implementing this. This particular industry is categorized by the application of information and communication technologies to the industry. And so this is solar, wind, geothermal. So all the renewable energy is now, as we know, big. You probably had someone knock on your door, if you're in the United States for sure, that was selling solar panels and something to help you with energy. You hear a lot about green energy now and sustainability. You hear a lot about that. The fourth industrial revolution was really when we became more and more connected, and is also coined or dubbed as the Internet of Things. This is where we are. This is what we're going to talk about. And I want you to see how in the third, it was partial automation, because we had access to some other things that prevented a lot for it to be more widespread until now, where now automation and smart technologies are really important. And you know it if you've heard about the buzz between blockchain technology, AI, the metaverse, all these things, Web3, all these terms, all of that has to do with the technology. So when we look over time, I want you to know that because of where we are today and what happened about a year and a half ago, artificial intelligence has really taken this to the next level and is really helping us move and pushing us into what I am going to talk about in a moment about the fifth. But you can see over time from 2021 until 2030, how the increase, right, the market size worldwide has increased from 2021 to 2030. So this is even looking a little bit into the future um, as far as this. And this was the World Economic Forum um, that put this out, or the Next Move Strategy Consulting, which this was a part of some of that data used in that report. And then we're not talking about this one today, but I want you to see where we're going, because we are now in automation, but we're moving toward the fifth, where now we're focused on about where it's more about robotics, right? And um, this idea of bionic augmentation. So the Internet of Bodies. So this is when the fifth is projected to be powered by purpose, not just profit. So there's going to be a combination of things. How are things being used, and how can it improve how we work? So we're going to focus on the fourth, and the fourth is where we're going to really talk about the technology and automation. And I'm going to talk about two in particular. There is more, but like I say, because of time, I'm not going to be able to go into this. So we know what happened in 2020. It really accelerated and really brought in the forefront this idea of digital transformation. And in digital transformation, then we started having these conversations around 2021, 2022 about what is the difference between not just the industry revolutions are one, but then we start talking about what is this idea of web 1, 2, and 3. And I always say that we are about web 2.5. For me, I think we're not there just because of adoption and education and some of the things that we are now implementing and the reason we're here. And so just know that this is where we are, and we've moved from just reading things, showing and presenting, to now we can create, now we can own things. And so web3 is about this idea of ownership, and it represents this next generation or phase of evolution of the web and internet. It's said to be disruptive, and so you'll hear that in a lot of people's topics and titles about this disruptive technology that it represents. And so that's kind of where we are. And so, what does the workplace look like? How is this changing things? And this digital transformation is meant to really lower cost, but increase efficiency, making sure that businesses and workplaces are able to move and flexible and adaptable to change. And so they're usually about four ways that I typically talk about that this is implemented. And I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm going to really talk about the talent and the technological, because that's what we're here for today. We're talking about the future work, and I want to get into that a little bit. But if you know anything about communication, it's one of them. Communication has changed. Now it's human focused, it's authentic, it talks about personalized communication, it's this consistent communication. And social media has really been a part of that. But it's also really getting people to jump on board, right? Um, and it's really key into getting people in the workplace to support it, right? The second is a cultural transformation, and that's when I talk about the workplace and how now the workplace we're have talking about flexible and workplaces to accommodate the different kinds of workers and technology. Hybrid work is really big now. Remote work, you'll hear some of that. So some of you who are looking for employment, you want to consider this idea of remote work, hybrid work, and does that fit your personality? Just because it's available doesn't mean it's for you, but it is creating an opportunity for moving new and more dynamic models of working and business performance. So productivity is really being impacted by this. But you really have to know your strengths and know if that's for you. Because when you look at it, you can work in person. You can, some people have flex where you can decide, as long as you do 2 days in the office and 3 days somewhere else, you can kind of move around. This idea of hybrid, and then remote, where you can be strictly remote. And you'll see some job opportunities that are set up like that. But the hybrid workplace and workers is really, and any combination, and there's different combinations of it. I'm not going to go into it, but there's different combinations of it. But it's this idea that, um, sometimes it helps to be able to go in. It helps you stay connected to your other colleagues and the actual organization, for you to kind of be in awareness, and opportunities come when people see you. So hybrid work is probably the most embraced right now, because it offers both the flexibility, but it also keeps you connected enough so you don't miss out on opportunities. So if you have the opportunity to stay connected in some way, I do encourage you to consider hybrid work as an option if it fits your personality. The next is talent. So this is where we're going to kind of slow down a little bit, and I'm going to talk about the talent transformation. So, one thing that people always ask me is, what is future of work? What does this look like? What is it? And the future of work is this idea of, one is technology, right? It's dealing with the technologies that we are going to be talking about. It's dismantling the systemic barriers and the systematic barriers to opportunities for people of color. It's scaling innovative training and credentialing models. It's this idea of being able to make a bigger impact, right? And then you see our word again for today. The word of the day is automation. So in the chat, I want everyone to put automation. Type the word automation. I want to see it going up the screen. Automation. Whether it's in the workplace, at home, what you're doing, you're going to notice automation is really what this fourth industrial revolution is about, is really what it's pushing. And we're moving more into that as we move into what people are terming as the fifth, and talking about the fifth already. So typically when I talk, and I always, this is where I really like to spend my time, is on talent development. So I'm gonna try not to hang out here, y'all. I'm gonna try not to, but I really am into talent development, because I like to talk about ways you can do it. And today is a good time to decide if you need to upskill, reskill, or retool. And I want to talk about what those are. So to upskill is to learn new skills, or to deepen your expertise, right? That relates to some of your, whatever you're currently doing. It's this idea that you're going to learn new skills. You're just going to add to what you already know. The goal of upskilling is that you gain the needed competencies to stay competitive and relevant, right? So that way you can move, either advance, get a promotion, or you can keep your job. Many people are afraid now with automation that people are losing their jobs, and that will lose their jobs, or their jobs to be taken by a robot, or taken by AI, or taken. The way you can mitigate that, or to start thinking forward thinking about that, is to upskill. The other option is to reskill. This process is learning new skills needed to do an entirely different job. So maybe your job is going to be done differently. Maybe there's an easier, more efficient way. We talked about this workplace transformation, digital transformation being about efficiency. So if it is about efficiency, and if it is about doing things faster, we always said, I know growing up, you work smarter, not harder. If that's the case, then reskilling may be something you want to look into. Maybe that's entirely learning a different skill, switching lanes, switching over to a new role, or a different role, maybe even a completely different job. But the goal of reskilling is for you to have more opportunities, that you're not just stuck where you are, or that you get pushed out where you are unemployed, or don't have a way to market and really push forth your ideas and strategies that you have, especially if some of you have a tech solution or some other solution that you're working on. And the other option is retooling. So some of you may be in a position and you like it, you love it, it's going to be there, you know it's always there, but it's time to look at the systems. It's time to replace either the machines, the equipment, the software, whatever you're using, the systems that you have in place, and do something that's more efficient, right? Is to organize it in a different way, to improve it, revise it, or modify it. The goal of retooling is to learn a new tool, and it could be, or an update, software update. It could be something to automate. Remember, automation is our word for today, to make more efficient. And so, by many people are talking about, and I want to make sure I address this because many people have this thought, and they're feeling anxious and thinking they have to be a developer, they have to be a coder, and that's not necessarily the case. I want you to know that even though 85 million jobs may be displaced by humans and machines. We're talking about the fourth industrial revolution and the fifth, right? But 97 million will emerge or may emerge, right, as a result of the new smart technologies and the automation. So just know, like, even though some are being done in a different way, it doesn't mean that there's not something out there for you to do. So that's the good news for today, that you just need to figure out what you want to focus on, what aligns with your purpose and your goals. Remember, we're talking about, especially moving to the fifth industrial revolution, it's purpose, not just profit. So what is aligned with your purpose? And so just think, even probably now, this has probably been updated just because things are accelerating so fast, but it was projected last year in 2023 that 50% of employees will need reskilling by 2025. Y'all, that's in 6 months. That's really around the corner, depending on when you're listening to this recording. But it's here. Let's just say it's here. It's now. So if that is you, don't feel some sort of way about it, because it's okay. It's going to be 50% of us. So if there's two people in the room, wherever you are right now, one of you will need to reskill, and that's okay. And the fourth, and this is where we're going to spend the rest of our time. And let me check our time. I think I have about 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to skip a few slides. I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to try to make it so we can get through this. But there's two that I really want us to talk about. And so we'll go through that. It's really early, so there's still time for you to decide what it is you want to do. What is this future of work? And I'm going to highlight a couple. You'll see there's more on these two slides, but I'm going to highlight blockchain technology and artificial intelligence. But there's so many other things. Like I say, the fifth, we're moving into robots and machine learning and some of those things. But I'm going to talk about those two for today. So let's just get into it. So workplace automation. So we're talking about that when we're looking at workplace automation. We're looking at this digital transformation, and it's a strategy, right, to improve productivity and performance. So it is this idea to change or reduce the human involvement in some of the tasks, because some of the tasks, it's not required. It could be so much done so much more efficient if if the human is removed. So it's an opportunity for innovation and improve your team's output, the quality of what you're producing. Workplace automation. We're talking about automation today, right? This is where we increase efficiency, where we simplify tasks and provide a better experience, not just for the customer, but for the employee. So think about who all you're serving at whatever you're doing, whether you own the company or you work somewhere or you're seeking to work somewhere. Workplace automation refers to companies using technology to perform workflows, organizing emails, sales leads, paperwork, data, all of that is managed. So there are benefits to automating, and it's not all bad. There's some things that can really come from it. So I just want you to know, like, it's not all bad. So just know, workplace automation, 23% of today's jobs will change. 44% of the workers' core skills are expected to change in the next 5 years. So these are things to expect. And if you expect it, you can plan for it. And I'm about strategy. I'm a strategist. I'm a consultant. That's what I do. I like to have you think about a strategy. And so because of that, let's start making a plan for how you can reskill, upskill, or retool. How can you remain competitive and relevant going forward in the future? So I'm going to go into, so blockchain technology, I'm not going to go into what it is per se, but I am going to talk about the jobs, the types of jobs that there are. And so here are the top 10 jobs. And just know that even though these are on this particular list, and this list was pulled a few months ago, and these were the top, amongst the top 10 highest paying blockchain jobs, but just know that all of them are not necessarily tech. Um, and it could be you have knowledge of the tech, right? If you're a project manager. So, for instance, right, if you're a legal consultant, if you have a legal background, you may have knowledge of these things. But these are the top 10. And you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to be a coder. Yes, those are options, but that's not necessarily the case. But these are some that you can consider. The other thing is artificial intelligence. So let's talk about that. And artificial intelligence has been around a minute. So I just want you to know that, like, it has been around a while. So just know that it's not anything new. It's just now it's becoming where we're user friendly, right? Now we're able to do more with it. So let's look at this. I want you to see the jobs along the side of this one. You can see some of the jobs, sales, legal, some of the ones that those employees who have exposure to AI automation, whether it's in their job or what they do, you can see how the industries that it touches. So just keep in mind, many common tasks in these roles, as scheduling meetings, writing reports, inputting data, are likely to be fully automated. So in office administrative support, so you may want to consider some other options, right? Um, and that's something that now you know you can do. And then there's others where it's only maybe 25% of the job. Entertainment, sports, media, some of those things, because some things still require a human, right? So you got to look at those particular jobs. We will always need humans. It's about us figuring out where, what exactly. All right. So many of you already know the answers to these, but I'm just going to put some stats with it. Is AI a good career? Yes. So if you know anything about AI, there's courses out there now that you can learn a little bit about. Of course, remember that it's always not only your education and training, but it's also your experience. So you want to get experience. So you want to start dibbling, dabbling, playing. You want to have exposure to these things. You don't want to just, now some people are just putting them on their resume because they know the definition. Please don't do that. Make sure that you have experience with it, and and if you have a certification or something to behind that, that's also great. And if you have it and you don't have it on your resume or your LinkedIn or wherever you are looking for employment or opportunities, you should have it. So artificial intelligence jobs are really plenty right now. People are really trying to figure out how they can incorporate it into their business, into their organization. And so it's a good time, if you do have that knowledge, to look and see what's a good fit. Now remember your purpose. Remember what you enjoy doing. Don't just do something because it has AI. Make sure it's something. So I always look, I'm an educator, a traditional educator at the university, and I taught grade school. And so I'm always looking at what opportunities are available for me as an educator and for me as a reading or writing educator, teacher. How can I include that? So you want to make sure that it's connected to what you really are passionate about. Um, there's a high gap in those that are not qualified. And so just know that's why I say it's important for you to be really qualified. Like there's some courses out there that are free or inexpensive. I know at one time Google even had a whole series of courses that they were offering free. So this is a good time to get some of the knowledge. And then, some of the platforms that are the AI platforms are free, with certain versions, enough for you to get experience with. You can start playing around with those and getting experiences. AI professionals earn salaries up to 100,000 USD. I will say this is USD, so just know that as I'm going through all these numbers in these slides. And so just know that opportunities are developing. I won't say it'll be the same all the time, but this is how it is right now, since it's something people are catching on to and really logging onto. So many of the AI careers are flexible. So I encourage you to just check them out, and know that different industries and fields are having opportunities. So it can be some of the traditional tech roles, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Um, These are some jobs that AI could replace: customer service reps, technical writers, things that it can push out in 30 seconds. That's it. But here are some where you see that there is room for you to look at some of the positions: business intelligence developer, product manager, AI data analyst. Um, Prompt engineer has been really big lately. I don't know if that's still in demand as it was, since everybody kind of knows how to use it now, a year and a half later. But those are really big in the recent report that I pulled up. And these are just some, right? I want you to also just do your own research, because there are a lot of non-tech roles that are also big. And the salaries kind of follow. And like I said, these are in USD, but you can kind of see um, what these go. And so if I was looking at this list, for me, research scientist would be one that I would raise my eyebrow at, because I'm a researcher. And so I'm thinking, what kind of jobs? Is there some in education? Is it some in literacy? I would want those. But yeah, you can see the range is they're wide, but they're up there. So I want you to know that in the fourth industrial revolution, when we're looking at the jobs, know that they augment the human experience, they don't replace it. So there will be jobs for you. You just got to look and see what are those jobs, whether it's blockchain technology or AI. What are those jobs, and what's being automated in those particular industries and what's not? So just know that that's there. And I want to encourage you to look for jobs, because it's a diverse group of programmers. We need the diverse group of programmers right now because we want to make sure that the biases are eliminated, that we don't have those biases. So, and some of those biases are being built because you got to remember these are programs, right? So they're someone is programming them. So it's not something that is automatic. So if someone's programming it, they can build in and put into the code their own biases. So we're going to watch out for that. So I just encourage you to think about, what does this transition look like? How does this play into who you are and what your goals are? Because what you'll find is you probably have goals, and how does this align? And I encourage you to figure that out and just start learning and researching. Remember, education and training, but also experience. So see how you get that. Internships, apprenticeships, all of those are important. And I encourage you to get a mentor. So I guess that would be my final thought is to think about a mentor, um, someone who can help you through this and guide you through this, especially if it's a new field, a new area. So I want to thank you for your time. I think I'm over a few minutes. So if you have questions, put them in the chat and we will respond to them later. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for having me. I am Dr. Tammy. I am your success strategist consultant, and I help you move in the direction of more and prepare for what's next. Y'all take care. Bye.